Welcome to Own This Dancefloor.
Own it like your heart depends on it.
An independent EDM showcase on Sonic Scout Radio.
Unfiltered fun.
Now, here's your host, Alex from Riverside.
All right, everybody. What a day. Welcome to launch day here at Sonic Scout Radio. What an exciting time for a new radio platform. Welcome. My name is Alex from Riverside. I'll be your host of this new radio show on this platform known as Own This Dancefloor. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be showing off a lot of independent EDM. It's going to be very exciting. My artist name, if you want to follow me, is Caesar and Snug, or as an easier way to type it in, Guns N' Roses backwards. The classic rock band, of course. I love to fuse my love of rock into my love of EDM as well. Two of my favorite genres to be a part of, and I'm really excited to do this with you guys. I want to take a moment to talk about the song that we will be playing first, which is going to be my track, Big Ten Ballin'. Not my latest track, but one of my newer ones that came out back in November. And this song came to me while me and my dad were at a college basketball game. I became a big sports fan as of recently, taking on a role as a producer on a sports station in Maryland. Very fun stuff, of course. And me and my dad went to see Maryland and Marquette play a college basketball game. And I was just thinking of like that type of music while we were watching everyone throw the ball and shoot the hoops, of that type of music when you're watching a highlight reel, and that really exciting stuff that just... It just bodes excitement, and I wanted to make a song that would be playing during one of those highlight reels, and that is what the inspiration for this song is. So without further ado, here's Big Ten Ballin' on Own This Dancefloor on Sonic Scout Radio. All right, guys, here we are back. I hope you enjoyed my song Big Ten Ballin'. I really like that song. Now that we've introduced myself a little bit with my music and a little bit of my personality, I want to get to some other talent here. We're going to go with this artist, Casanopus. Okay, I found this guy just looking around for people to feature on my show, and I really liked this guy's style of EDM. Very, very unique and pretty different compared to, mainstream stuff like the Skrillex and the Deadmau5s of the world. But we're going to be playing their song Feeling So Right. And they tell me Feeling So Right is one of the first tracks they made solely as an individual producer rather than a remix of another track. And that is just so beautiful when you finally lock in, find your sound that is 100% your own. And, you have your influences there, but it's all your own. So I think this is the perfect way to start off an independent EDM showcase, which is what this show is all about. Here's Feeling So Right by Casanopus on Own This Dance Floor. Keep it locked in to Sonic Scout Radio. Happy launch day, everyone. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back into Sonic Scout Radio. This is Own This Dance Floor, hosted by yours truly, Alex from Riverside. After we listen to Rise Above It All by Sama here, we're going to interview my good buddy Logan Perry. He's a local jazz musician here in the Maryland area, and he's just a great guy, great talented guy, but he also dabbles in some experimental electronic music in his free time when he's not performing with his trio, and I think he was a good guest for the show. So after after Sama, we're going to listen to Logan Perry talk to us about all his amazing work he has going on. Then after that, we're going to listen to his own song that he made for this show for us to debut, actually. So you guys will be the first to hear it. But for now, here's Rise Above It All by Sama here on Own This Dance Floor. Keep it locked in to Sonic Scout Radio. Happy Launch Day, guys.
We're gonna rise above it all. Yeah, even when the world's not walls. Yeah, no, we'll keep climbing, we won't fall. No, we're gonna rise above it all. Oh, rise above it all.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Own This Dance Floor on Sonic Scout Radio. We are now going to take a quick break from the banging beats to talk to my good friend and local DMV musician, Logan Perry. So, hey, Logan, how's everything going with you today?
Hello, Alex. How are you? I'm doing very well.
Great to hear. Great to hear. I want to start off by saying, just asking you, like, and feel free to make this a long-winded answer if you like, but just what kind of music do you like to produce and perform?
Well, that's a good question. I used to produce music as that used to be my primary creative outlet, was music production. So that would be, I used to make a lot of ambient music. I used to really love the music of Brian Eno, guys like that, and I used to make a lot of ambient music and kind of soundscapey stuff, kind of droning stuff. And some elements of that, I guess, are still apparent in my music now. But I would say that right now, I'm focusing a lot of my creative energy on free jazz and free improvisation, if you want to call it that. But working in the tradition of free jazz musicians, understanding that it's a very historically informed style of music. It's a very culturally informed style of music. So right now, a lot of free jazz, but I think a lot of free jazz with elements of ambient music and noise music and drone music, because that's where I kind of got my footing when I started making independent music. I started out. I have memories of being a really young kid, right, and playing around on GarageBand, and I think a lot of people get their start that way. I think probably you would agree, right? Like a lot of people kind of get their start making music, fiddling with, music production software, at least, right now, thank God, there's such a prevalence of music around that we have never seen before in history, right? Like this has never, there's no historical parallel to the fact that we have this stuff at our fingertips now. So, a lot of free jazz and drone music, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I never really super got into the drone scene, but I've listened to a couple songs and here and there in that space. Yeah, it's very intense, and more intense than people may think it is to produce, because
very emotionally driven stuff. Very emotional music.
It really can be, and I do like your point to saying how accessible music is to people. Like a quick example is like my sister is big into sports. She loves playing sports, playing basketball, and that's definitely, I think, what's going to drive her future is sports. But I just hear her in the background making beats on her phone, and I think that's it's so crazy to me, because I remember even you and me are probably pretty similar ages. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. Okay, yeah, I'm 22. And I feel like maybe when we were even in elementary school, the thought of being a musician meant you had to dedicate to the violin for 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, you kind of had to hunker down and perfect your craft.
Yeah,
I mean that's still the case, right? Of
course, yeah.
Across the board, you still need to dedicate time to your craft. I would say in many ways I dedicate my life to my music, but that's because my music is a culmination of all the lived experiences that I've ever had, right? So the fact, but yeah, I mean, the point from earlier that music production is at our fingertips now, that probably opens the floodgates for a lot of people who are interested in music or have some kind of musical inclination to explore it more. I know that was the case with me. I had musical inclinations when I was young. I would always be tapping on things. I'm a drummer, and it's kind of it's this interesting dichotomy, the primal nature of drumming, and it's very human, and this kind of modern 21st century thing. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that way with my musical journey. I started off, I played saxophone for a couple years, from 4th grade into middle school a little bit, but then I kind of gave up on it. And funny story, my best friend will tell you I gave up on it because I was sick of carrying the damn thing.
Well, how do you imagine as a drummer, I'm always hauling.
Right.
It's a nightmare. I should have played the piccolo. That's what I tell people.
Right. That's what I say when I'm when I take my guitar, just to my family's house, I'm I have a hollow body guitar, and it's the first big professional, like I used to have I still have them, but I started off on like Squires and stuff, really light.
Yeah.
But I just got a Gretsch last year for my birthday, and that thing is heavy. Like, so I think about that when I take it over places. I love it because I don't have to take an amp with me just to play some quick like campfire chords.
I bet it's like a beautiful acoustic instrument. Yeah, one of those. I love nice it.
Yeah, I'll have to show you once we get off. It's not down here, and I don't need my background on my social media right now. So, but yeah, definitely cool. So next up, I got like I guess you kind of already answered it at some point. It sounded like you did, but I'll just ask it again.
Well, we can touch on it.
What got you into making music at all? Like from square one, did you like play Guitar Hero or something, or like? You don't have to morph your answer because I said that, but
I think that I think it's kind of always been around, and I think it's a very primal thing. Mm-hmm. I think that in my case, maybe not everybody's case, but I think in my case, for me, music can facilitate healing. Music can it can do things to you, right? I don't want to get too hippy dippy or spiritual, but sometimes there is a sense of out of body experiences. At least for me, drumming, is a very religious thing. Sometimes it's like music is my religion, and when I drum, it's like prayer. I struggle to find a proper parallel that doesn't get very high and mighty, because for me, music is a very high and mighty thing. I take it very seriously. Yeah. I don't know if it's an obsession. It sounds a little obsessive and a little deranged, but I think it's been good. It's been a music has been a strong pivotal force in my life. Yeah. Right. Lots of memories and lots of emotions from in the widest spectrum of human emotion, from the lowest lows to the highest highs. Yeah. It would be impossible to not make music, is what I'm saying.
That's how my heart is. Like, even though like it seems like I might be getting back into it now with Sonic Scout Radio, of course, but like it was, I had to take a step back because I don't know if I've told you, I'm sure it's come up in conversation at some point, but I've stumbled into having a family.
I'm well aware. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm having my child's almost 2 years old. So no throwing shade at anyone who can do the thing, because you, my buddy, Tom Starr, who I'll be interviewing next week, you guys have had the great opportunity to hustle, keep touring, keep putting out records, go to the studio, all that stuff. And it's awesome. Like, I love seeing my friends being able to do that, but I had to pivot and found my way into radio, which is still like, it takes a while to get your footing and make real money and things like that. But
look, I mean, I'm not I'm not making much money off of this music thing, brother. I will say, money, it comes and goes. Yeah, it's not at all it's not a motivating factor at all, because a lot of the performances that I play bring in very little money. Some of the performances bring in no money. I'm doing it out of a preservation of myself, right? It's the
integrity.
Integrity. Are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? So like at the top you have like self-actualization. Okay. And that is like for me, that is the music. Exploring the music is the highest form of myself that I can be, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
My next one here for you is how did you meet your trio? I know you play in a trio. How did you guys meet? How did you guys link up and everything?
Yeah, well, so the Logan Perry trio is it's a cool little unit, brother. It's a cool little group. So I met these guys at Towson. I was studying music. I was studying jazz composition at Towson for one semester, for a semester. Yeah. I'm no longer studying composition there. Okay. And I kind of, in my time at Towson, I had a kind of, I don't want to say revelation, but like, let's just say that music academia is not necessary for what I intend on doing, right?
Right, 100%. I feel
it's good for some things. It's good for some people and who are taking certain paths in life, but it didn't line up with what I was going to do with my life, which is okay. But my time at Towson was beautiful, and I met these two guys, Wes and Ruben, and they're beautiful musicians, but they're beautiful people too. Yeah. So we play music which is mostly freely improvised. Mm-hmm. That is, we sit down and we have all three of us have years of experience in our respective instruments, right? Like Wes is a fantastic tenor saxophone player. Ruben is a fantastic trombone player and piano player. And I would say I'm an all right drummer. So the three of us together, we sit down and with no preconceived notion of the music we're about to play, we just play. We have a conversation. We have a very musical dialogue. And we can touch on things that are a bit spiritual, you know?
Right.
That communication of three people through sound is a very special thing. And, sometimes I write music for the trio to play, but it's mostly freely improvised.
Yeah.
We have a show at the end of May, so May 31st. We'll be playing at Old Major in Baltimore. That's a bar in Baltimore. We'll probably be playing a little bit more composed music. Yeah. But we had a show at the Hargrove.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, which we played two sets. The first set was freely improvised, and then the second set was a composition I wrote called Trapezes. And it's a fun time. They're my buddies, and we make good music. And that's the Logan Perry Trio.
Do you guys ever dabble in like jazz versions of other songs? Like, you gonna go and play like a Bohemian Rhapsody trap version?
We've played jazz standards together. You know, we play typical jazz music. Maybe we could throw together. We're all trained jazz musicians. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. So we have the ability to arrange and. We could make that happen for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like I've seen people do this with other genres. Like I worked at the Wrecker for a year, and there was this jam band who they would mainly do Grateful Dead covers, but every so often they'd throw in another band, but in that same like jam band Grateful Dead style. And I always like little switch ups like that. There's some songs where I get a little bothered by genre switching, to be honest, but on occasion it's really cool to hear how other people interpret popular music.
I mean, jazz there's a long history of that in jazz music, right? Like,
I've heard
John
a ton
Coltrane's
of it.
My Favorite Things. We can look at that.
I've heard tons of live performances of even some Rage Against the Machine type songs that are redone in jazz.
There's so much good stuff out there, man. And I'm trying to think. There's just so many jazzified versions of different stuff. Yeah. That's like a whole style of music unto itself.
Right. Beyond it's like a neoclassical or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So switching over to a little bit more of what I got going on in this show. Do you have any favorite types of EDM artists that you like, or styles of EDM that you listen to?
You know, that's funny you asked that. I don't listen to a lot of EDM because, I guess I don't find it playing much, but I listen to, I guess, what some people would call IDM. Okay. I think that's really, I don't really like
industrial.
Oh God, I hate, so this is it's a really ignorant title. IDM stands for intelligent dance music. Okay. Which is give me a break. I mean, come on.
Okay. I never knew what the I meant. I always just assumed industrial.
It actually, it means intelligent dance music. So sometimes IDM is ascribed to people like Aphex Twin, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Square Pusher, different people that produce in that kind of style, or like breakcore guys like I don't know, Venetian Snares is considered like IDM.
Is that the type of records you find yourself listening to in the space?
Yeah, and like that's the closest to EDM, because like really there is no difference between electronic dance music and intelligent dance music.
Exactly.
It's a really snobby thing that music critics made up. It's not real,
Yeah, I've always bricked it all under just electronic dance music because that's kind of what it is. Like, because once you venture out of that, you're kind of just getting into music made with real instruments at that point.
Right,
well, real in the sense that like guitar, drums, bass type thing, like a band.
Yeah.
But not to say that like producing on the computer is not real, but
Aphex Twin, Square Pusher, Venetian Snares. I guess those would be guys that I.
Yeah. I guess if we're in that space, there's a record I bought or my dad bought from this site that just sells indie records, like on vinyl, right? And he found this artist called the artist is called Broadcast, but the record is called Microtronics. And it's basically like that. Like, I don't even know if it's necessarily dance music. It's definitely not danceable. But it's just kind of like samples arranged in like a collage almost, like with jazz type drumming and like
I love that,
all sorts of samples. And I listen to it all the time. Almost I want to one day just build a sample library out of it because it all seems like that type of music. But that's definitely an artist in that space I would recommend because they also have a couple like just traditional like boom clap type music, but that's like a really weird record that this artist Broadcast made.
Plunderphonics, that's what comes to mind is Plunderphonics. Plunderphonics is like it's kind of an antiquated music term I think now, but I think it was kind of more of a thing in the 80s, but it refers to creating music entirely from samples. So only making music from pre-recorded audio, not making any new audio yourself, right?
I've made a few singles like that just with sample libraries, like on Splice or Apple Library. Yeah.
Plunderphonics, that's what comes to mind. And I made like a little on my Bandcamp. I have a little beat tape, which is like a Plunderphonics beat tape. So it's all just it's like vaguely hip hop beats, but it's all pre-recorded stuff, but it's also very avant-garde. It's also very experimental. Right,
because that's something that like people oversee when you make music that's heavily sample driven. They're like, oh, you just found a sample and dragged it into an audio program, but arrangement is an art form. Like
it is
because no one puts one sample with another, like when you remix samples into its own other song where it's like you can't even tell that was Hit Me Baby One More Time if you tried, like that type of thing. So it is an underrated art, and that's kind of another thing like overall, because like even though EDM and electronic music has become such a big thing in the world now, I still hear, people maybe a little older than us or even young people who like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation. I just listened to Grateful Dead and Zeppelin. Those type of people see no value in sample-based music. And I always point to a quote from Geddy Lee in the Rush song, Spirit of Radio. He says, all this modern machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. And that's what I always point to when those type of people come to me and say EDM isn't worth anything, because
we have to embrace technology in music. Now, I say that with AI, I'm a little hesitant. I'm
AI
scared.
is hard to talk about with me as well. Yeah,
it's difficult, and that's a whole rabbit hole. But we have to embrace the technology. That's a thing. Time in memoriam, people have railed against technological innovations in music, but it's important that we embrace them.
Yeah.
There's a Jim Morrison used to talk about like before he died, he used to talk about there's a clip of him. You can probably find it on YouTube. There's a clip of him, and he's like, one day the computers are going to be making the music for us, you know. And he that was in the 60s, man. I'm just saying, like, we have to embrace technological advances in music, for
Right.
sure.
Okay, so one little quick thing, so I can just make it to 20 minutes. I guess it'll be a two-parter question. What's your end goal? Are you looking for a major deal with your trio, with yourself as a solo career? And then also, I know we talked before that you're going to cook us something up for my station. It isn't here now as we're recording, but we're going to be hearing it after this interview on the show. So what do you got cooking up for that song, and what's your final goal with music?
Yeah, well, my final goal, that's a big question, I feel like I'm only just getting started properly now. Although, like I said before, it's been a lifelong journey, so it's going to follow me to my grave. And the only way to determine what the final goal will be is once I figure out what I want my life to be. I think a nice major record deal would be beautiful, but something that like a big project or a goal that I'm aiming towards would be like a solo tour. I would love to put together a solo tour eventually. Maybe like a East Coast, like United States East Coast tour, hit like New England all the way down to Florida.
Yeah.
Just as a way to get out and about, kind of hit the open road and play music. That would be a one goal for the future. But I try not to make big goals like that. I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm focused right now primarily on live performances and on composition. So yeah, and what I've got cooking up for the show, I'm composing right now. I'm going to be transferring it from sheet music to MIDI because I love the cheesy like MIDI sound font stuff.
Of course,
it's beautiful.
Yes, I made a whole record like that.
Yes, and I think we've discussed this before, like even like Anna Music, those old.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I love that. I love that sound quality. So I'm writing a little piece, like a little electronic kind of avant-garde thing that will have all that MIDI stuff going on, and I hope that you will enjoy it. It's not here yet, but it's about to play, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right. Well, that sounds good. We're going to get into it right now.
Yes.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Logan. We're going to hear your song now here on Own This Dance Floor.
Thank you very much.
Dancefloor,
Own it like your heart depends on it.
an independent EDM showcase on Sonic Scout Radio.
Unfiltered fun.
Now, here's your host, Alex from Riverside.
All right, guys. Logan's song was really cool. I really digged it, and we'll definitely be talking to him more as my show goes along here. We're going to start off with a vaporwave song I made called Big Dreams, and then we're going to get into a lo-fi hip-hop beat I made 100% on an iPad about 5 years ago almost, and that song's called I Promise. So we're going to get through both of those, and then we're going to hear one more song by Casanopus, and we're going to get out of here. So here's some more jams from Caesar and Snug right here on Sonic Scout Radio. Keep it locked in.
Dancefloor on Sonic Scout Radio.
All right, guys, this has been a great show. Great introduction to me and to all the independent artists I'll be featuring on the show. But it's come to an end. We're going to listen to one more song here by Casanopus. The song is called Gold. And it seems to me that this is their magnum opus, if you will, of music production so far. Sam was a friend that they made through TikTok with an incredible voice. I mean, just listen to this song, you will hear their incredible voice. And they kept the tune simple to let her voice really shine through, you know, because sometimes the vocal is what charges the song. That's going to be it for today. We're going to play this song and wrap it up for today. I'll see you guys next time, but tune in to the next show here on Sonic Scout Radio. Happy launch day, guys. Alex from Riverside signing off.